हेलो हेलो, तू फ्लोर पे जब है आई, येलो येलो बड़ी सॉलिड मस्ती छाई।
हेलो हेलो, तू मुझे तुमने लगाई, येलो येलो कंट्रोल करो मेरे भाई। छन छन बोले अमृतसरी चूड़ियां, रात बड़ी है मस्तानी तो दिल पर जानी, कर ले गल्ला बूढ़ियां। छन छन बोले अमृतसरी चूड़ियां, रात बड़ी है मस्तानी तो दिल पर जानी, कर ले गल्ला बूढ़ियां। मटक्का तेरा मुझे बड़ा तड़पावे, तू देख तो आज भी दिल पर गुड़िए तीर साइक चल जावे। करते बिन पिए शराबी, चेहरा तेरा गुलाबी, कोई क्यों ना यमला बन जावे जो इतनी हो बेताबी। हेलो हेलो, दिल दिल से कनेक्ट करना, येलो येलो ये बातें डायरेक्ट करना। छन छन बोले अमृतसरी चूड़ियां, रात बड़ी है मस्तानी तो दिल पर जानी, कर ले गल्ला बूढ़ियां। छन छन बोले अमृतसरी चूड़ियां, रात बड़ी है मस्तानी तो दिल पर जानी, कर ले गल्ला बूढ़ियां। चना चनक तेरा पन दूंगा नक नक, चना चनक तेरा पन दूंगा नक नक। मैं कबूतर फंसे के और को फंसे बिना, हाय फंसे बिना, फंसे बिना, हाय फंसे बिना। चना चनक तेरा पन दूंगा नक नक, चना चनक तेरा पन दूंगा नक नक, चना चनक तेरा पन दूंगा नक नक, चना चनक तेरा पन दूंगा नक। मैं कबूतर फंसे के और कोई फंसे बिना, मैं कबूतर फंसे के और कोई फंसे बिना, मैं कबूतर फंसे के और कोई फंसे बिना, मैं कबूतर फंसे के और कोई फंसे बिना। ये रात न मैंने जानी, क्यों इतनी खुश है दीवानी, तू मुझको ऐसी कहानी समझा दे समझा दे।
ये बात है सबने चाही, मिले जन्मों का हमरा ही, यह हुआ है कुछ ऐसा ही, समझे ना।
अब मैं जाना कह रही हो क्या फसाना हो,
प्यार करने से भी मुश्किल है निभाना हो।
हेलो हेलो, डोंट माइंड मी आई कहना, येलो येलो जरा मेरे टच में रहना।
छन छन बोले अमृतसरी चूड़ियां, रात बड़ी है मस्तानी तो दिल पर जानी, कर ले गल्ला बूढ़ियां। छन छन बोले अमृतसरी चूड़ियां, रात बड़ी है मस्तानी तो दिल पर जानी, कर ले गल्ला बूढ़ियां।
Welcome, my lovely listeners, to your own show, Cricket with Mahesh Iyer. This time at a different time, a step out Saturday evening here in Houston. A little bit cloudy, a little bit rainy, a bit wet here all around Houston. But yeah, it's a different time only for this time because I'm going to be out of town, ladies and gentlemen, the next 2 Sundays. So thanks to Rehan Siddiqui for letting me in this Saturday evening here in Houston. So very good evening to those of you who've tuned into me. Some of you would have probably been tuning in for something else, the regular programming, and surprised to hear me. Thank you so much. I hope you'll stay tuned in with me for the next hour or so on this show, the name of which is Cricket with Mahesh Iyer, only on 103.3 Houston FM. The station is a presentation of Rehan Siddiqui. And of course, this particular show is an official presentation of the Global Celebrity League of Cricket USA chapter. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a show in which we discuss, we talk, all matters cricket. And what I do, for those of you who are tuning in, almost, I would say, unexpectedly, thank you again for tuning in to me. And I hope you will stay with me the next 1 hour when I take you on a cricket ride. You can listen to me on the 103.3 FM station here in the Greater Houston area. Of course, the 103.3 Houston FM app. That's the best way to listen to me globally, as well as houstonfm.com. And I'm also on Facebook Live for those of you who are tuning into me on Facebook Live or who may join me later. Here is a wave, a salute, a victory sign, and a thumbs up to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into this show, Cricket with Mahesh Iyer, a presentation of the Global Celebrity League of Cricket USA chapter. As is the wont, what I will do is I'll start off the show with a roundup of what's happened in the world of cricket and what's coming up in the world of cricket. The Tri-Series in the UAE with all the games in Sharjah, I believe, comes to a close tomorrow with a grand finale between the top two teams, Pakistan and Afghanistan. Commiserations to Team UAE, who came very close to beating both the finals contenders, both of them in the last two games, but couldn't get over the finish line. But nothing to worry about. More and more opportunities coming their way with the Asia Cup coming up starting on Tuesday. So first of all, before we go to the Asia Cup, all the very best to Team Pakistan and Team Afghanistan for their finale tomorrow. We wish them both the very best, and we hope the better team comes on winning. So absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, that game in Sharjah can be caught here in the United States on Willow TV, 10 a.m. local US Central Standard Time. That's the Tri-Series, a prep for the Asia Cup. The Asia Cup coming up starting Tuesday. Again, in the United Arab Emirates, the two venues that have been slotted in are going to be the beautiful Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi and the lovely Dubai International Stadium in Dubai. Fantastic venues for cricket and fantastic games coming up starting Tuesday at Abu Dhabi. The lung opener between Hong Kong and Afghanistan. That's getting started Tuesday. The game time has been advanced by 30 minutes down. It was supposed to be 6 p.m. local time in Dubai, in the UAE. However, because of the extreme heat, the game time has been pushed back by 30 minutes. So it's a 6:30 p.m. local time, 9:30 a.m. US Central Standard Time. Asia Cup kicking off in Abu Dhabi between Hong Kong and Afghanistan starting Tuesday. Of course, that tournament runs almost 3 weeks. I believe the finals is going to be on the 28th of September. And one of the earliest marquee games, mark your calendar, Sunday, 14th of September, the big one between India and Pakistan at Dubai. We wish all the teams in the Asia Cup all the very best for some fantastic entertainment, fantastic wins, maybe a few heartbreaks along the way. You never know. Teams are getting very, very close, which is a great sign for the Asia Cup. I recall growing up, the Asia Cup likely used to be contested, I think, at some point in time by only three teams, India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Fast forward to 2025. If I'm not mistaken, we are talking about 8 teams now divided into 2 groups. So it's a great sign for cricket across the world and cricket in Asia. Once again, Asia Cup starts, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday, September 9th, with the opening game between Hong Kong and Afghanistan. Once again, we wish all the teams all the very best there. Keeping the same topic of T20 internationals, the Caribbean Premier League is in progress. Last week, those of you who listened to me would have heard me say that apparently the team to beat is the Trinbago Knight Riders. They were on top of the table. Well, guess what? They've now slipped to the second place. And when I last saw, the standings were St. Lucia Kings at the top, level on points, but likely ahead on net run rate vis-a-vis the Trinbago Knight Riders. The top 2 teams are St. Lucia Kings and TKR, and there's still some ways to go in the tournament. So again, fantastic games in the morning as well as in the evening. CPL, complete Caribbean Carnival entertainment, place to be virtually or in person. The Caribbean Premier League, ladies and gentlemen, 2025. Another cracker of a game earlier today between Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe in Harare, the second of the three-match T20 series between the two teams. Zimbabwe bowling Sri Lanka out for a mere 80 runs, 8-0, and then with a few hiccups, they got over the finish line to tie the series 1-1, and the two teams again lock horns tomorrow for the third and deciding game of that particular series again in Harare. We wish both Team Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka all the very best for their encounter, and kudos to Team Zimbabwe for coming out on top earlier today. I believe only the second time that they have beaten Sri Lanka in a T20 international. Great game of cricket, great for the advertisement. We again hope that there is a cliffhanger tomorrow as well between the two teams out of Harare. So those were some of the T20 events that have happened. Now on to the one-day internationals. South Africa versus England in England. South Africa annihilating England at Leeds, Headingley, and then a cliffhanger between the two teams that again went South Africa's way by 5 runs at Lord's. So South Africa has already taken the series 2-0 with the final game scheduled for tomorrow out of Southampton. That's another game to watch out for. What if the series is already decided? I'm sure Harry Brook and his men would want to get a win. Team England struggling ever since they won the 2019 One-Day International World Cup to replicate that performance. Having a hard time, I believe, with lots of changes in the team. And to me personally, the most impactful change being their enigmatic current Test captain, Ben Stokes, no longer being part of the ODI setup. He's got to manage his body. He's gone through a lot of injuries. And I believe the priority drawn by English Cricket Board is for Ben Stokes to focus on Test matches. What an all-rounder he is. And for those of you who can recall 2019 Lord's World Cup final, again, deemed to be the greatest one-day international ever played, yours truly was extremely blessed and privileged to be at the ground that day. And it was Ben Stokes who took England over the finish line. Of course, a lot of drama, 2 ties, and then England being decided winners basis boundary count. But Ben Stokes was added. So Ben Stokes missing, I believe, in a very impactful manner from Team England. But Team England's lineup, I'm sure, will find suitable replacements. Right now, they're struggling for the 5th bowler spot to be occupied by somebody who is as good as bowling as in batting. I think they've gone batting heavy, and hence their 5th bowler isn't really able, or a couple of bowlers doing the 5th bowler's job, they are not really able to deliver the goods. So that is an issue that Team England needs to sort out, and they've got a couple of years before the ODI World Cup to sort this out. So surely looking downwards for England, but I'm sure they will pick back up. And so wish Harry Brook and his team all the very best tomorrow. Themba Bavuma and team, congratulations for already pocketing the series. Let's go for the third one tomorrow out of Southampton, ladies and gentlemen. England versus South Africa. Last game of the ODI series, after which they too will move to the T20 series. Talking about ODIs, an exciting tournament coming up. The Women's World Cup, ladies and gentlemen, played between all the teams, but played across venues in India and Sri Lanka. That tournament starts 30th of September, and that concludes the 2nd of November. Again, a marquee tournament to look forward to, the Women's ODI World Cup. We all have seen the quality of women's cricket going up significantly, and we wish all the teams, women of all the teams that are going to be participating, a great preparation and all the very best as they compete for the coveted ODI World Cup trophy in India and Sri Lanka, starting little less than a month out from today, the 30th of September at Guwahati. That's the lung opener for that particular tournament. So that's what's happened, that's what's coming up, ladies and gentlemen. And what's also coming up, as you've seen over the last couple of shows, is a lot of party atmosphere with cricket. And you've seen my song selections, they're much less, I would say, intense. They're much more into party mode because what we have coming up here in the United States is the Global Celebrity League USA chapter. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the GCL, or the Global Celebrity League USA chapter, we had a grand kickoff in the July, August, early August time frame. We had masterclass events. We had a grand kickoff event in Houston. Now we have cemented our venue. The venue for the Global Celebrity League is going to be what used to be called the Musa Stadium, now the Kinsman Arena in Pearland, a stone's throw away from the city center of Houston. And we have the dates. The dates, lock them in on your calendars for an in-person visit to the ground, or at the very least on the telly. October 24th is when we kick off, and November 2nd is when we bring the curtains down on the first edition of GCL USA, Global Celebrity League USA. To remind you all, there are 6 teams that are slotted in to be participating. Teams, bases, cities in the United States: Houston Riders, good old Houston; New York Liberty, Washington, D.C. Eagles, Chicago Wind Chasers, Miami Waves, and Las Vegas Aces. Ladies and gentlemen, 6 teams who will fight it out for the inaugural GCL USA trophy between October 24th and November 2nd. You can be a participant in the GCL USA. Need more information? You want to know how you can be a participant? Reach out to me, 832-310-4101. Of course, I can't take the call on this number during the show, but leave me a voicemail, leave me a WhatsApp message, leave me a text message. I will get back to you, and I'll make sure I'll get you in touch with the right people. You want to be a participant who has family members who want to register to play, get on our website, globalcricketleague.us, register, express your interest in participating as a player. You want to participate as an investor, you want to participate as a paying spectator, or you want to participate as an executive club member. You can get all of that information on our website. Once again, my number to reach out to me if you want to talk to somebody, 832-310-4101. The Executive Club membership gives you a single price ticket, which gives you access to all of the games. It gives you a 5-minute podcast, a specialized podcast for you. It gives you the feel that you and you alone are the special fan attending GCL USA. You are participating in events surrounded by celebrities, almost like you'll have to pinch yourself to say, hey, this one's really true. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be true very, very soon. So what are you waiting for? Make sure you note your calendars down. October 24th to November 2nd, 10 days of fast and furious T20 cricketing action among 6 city-based teams in the United States. What I'm going to do now is very soon bring on air the president of GCL, Mr. Arif Malik. You've heard from Mr. Arif Malik a couple of times, once in the studio, once on air. Let's see if he's got some more updates for us. In the meanwhile, while I attempt to bring Arif Bhai on air, here's another song that I hope will set your foot tapping. Whichever city you are in, just replace London, because it says London Tumakta. Well, it can be Houston Tumakta. It can be Miami Tumakta. It can be Pearland Tumakta. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, while I try to get Arif Bhai on air with us. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. This is your own show, Cricket with Mahesh Iyer, only on 103.3 Houston FM. The station is a presentation of Rehan Siddiqui, and the show is a presentation of Global Celebrity League USA chapter. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy.
चली आ गई उधर क्या फिर चली गई यार आ रही चली चली आ गई उधर कर फिर चली गई यार आ रही चली और चेक करके नहीं ला तू यार तू होगी 1 2
For, for those of you who are listening to me on Facebook, please do let me know if you're able to get the audio or not. Yeah, because I did get a message that audio was not working. Hope it has been restored. Yeah, let's enjoy this little party song and then I'll get the show going towards another interesting topic of cricket that I want to talk about, share some videos on. Let me just get you all thinking. It's not about batting. It's not about bowling. It's not about fielding. It's not about wicket keeping. So what is it that I'm going to talk about? Keep thinking while I set the show up for Facebook live transmission. Yep, be back in a couple of minutes while you enjoy your own city, Thumakda.
ਕੁੜੀਏ ਵਾਟੂ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਦੀ ਤੰਗਾ ਵਰਗੀ ਤੂੰ ਐਵੇਂ ਉੱਡਦੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਦੀ ਹਿੱਲਾ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਟੁਕ ਟੁਕ ਤੂੰ ਕਰਦੀ ਮੇਕਅਪ ਤੂੰ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਿਟ ਪਿਟ ਤੂੰ ਕਰਦੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਵਿਕਟੋਰੀਆ ਤੂੰ ਘੰਟੀ ਬਿਗ ਬੈਨ ਦੀ पूरा लंदन ठुमकदा ओ जदों नच पैन दी पूरा लंदन ठुमकदा तू घंटी बिग बैन दी पूरा लंदन ठुमकदा ओ जदों नच पैन दी पूरा लंदन ठुमकदा Hey! 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 लट्टे दी चादर उत्ते हनीमून कर मैया आओ सामने तेरा की साइज दस मारिया मन दा कुरेटा.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope there was a lot of Thumakda already going on. So I hope you all enjoyed the song selection. Just make sure you're feet tapping, staying happy as we talk about some of the cricketing personalities. So as I said, it's not about batting. It's not about bowling. It's not about wicket keeping. It's not about fielding. I'm going to talk about umpiring, ladies and gentlemen, today. Umpiring. Umpires, such. Hang on one second. Umpires, such a key element of the game. I remember growing up as a kid, umpiring in cricket was often deemed to be biased, where people would say, hey, there's a lot of bias. And the bias, that accusation of bias existed regardless of which nation's umpires we were talking about. It was not just Asia, it was not just the Caribbean, it was not just the SENA countries. Those days South Africa was banned from international cricket, but England or Australia, so on. It was all across the world where umpires were basically easily cut down as being cheats. Yeah. And I would say a lot of that probably just looking at umpires as fellow humans and the tough job that they do, standing for hours in the field. I believe a lot of times it was unfair. Yeah. And so I thought, okay, why don't I do a show on umpires today and just value what umpires bring. Pardon me, I'm having some issues with the audio. I just hope I am audible to you all. Apologize if I'm not. So talking about umpires, right, from the days when I was a kid growing up, umpire Dickie Bird, one of the best in the business, I think, over time, over history, umpire David Shepherd. There were so many umpires in India. Umpire Gotashkar was a good umpire. Pilu Reporter was another good umpire from India. Then, of course, there were other umpires from Pakistan. Khizr Hayat, I think, was an umpire that was reputed at that point in time. Similarly, there were umpires from other countries as well. Peter Parker later on in Australia and so on. So over time, we've had some great umpires, right? And of course, a lot of people historically think Simon Toffel was one of the best umpires ever to have graced the field of cricket with his umpiring capabilities. In fact, he won the ICC Umpire of the Year award 5 times in a row between 2004 and 2008. Similarly, Aleem Dar from Pakistan, a fantastic umpire. He has officiated in over 400 international matches, and he has won the ICC Umpire of the Year 3 times. So, very good umpire from Pakistan. Billy Bowden from New Zealand, always had something funny, something quirky going with his style of umpiring. We talked about Dickie Bird, talked about some other umpires as well, but also not to forget Kumar Dharmasena, still a contemporary in the ICC Elite panel from Sri Lanka, fantastic umpire. Nitin Menon from India, S.N. Raza from Pakistan, Michael Goff from England, Richard Kettlebrough from England. Great umpires. And if you look at it in the recent past, or little distant past as well, you had Srinivas Venkatraghavan, a very, very good bowler, an off-spinner of repute, an off-spinner par excellence, but also a great umpire. And I recall reading somewhere that Srinivas Venkatraghavan said, umpiring is extremely demanding. It requires a lot of concentration. Into taking catches in a test match, standing in a close-in cordon in the last over of the day. He said umpiring requires that kind of concentration, that you are out there, whether it's a test match or a 20-over game or a 50-over game, you're out there, you got to focus, ball in, ball out. There's no let up. Even a bowler bowls one end, moves to the other end, at least there is not that intensity when a bowler is fielding that he or she has to work with. But umpires, there is no let up. You can be the standing umpire, you could be at the square leg position, you have to be on your toes. Square leg umpire is watching the no ball on height and run outs and stumpings and so on. So umpiring job is extremely demanding. And I thought, hey, you know what? We need to appreciate these stalwarts of the game of cricket. Without umpires, the game of cricket wouldn't be half as great. And I hope there is not a future where human umpires are replaced by artificial intelligence bots. I hope we never get to that point, because umpires, being human, they have their mistakes. There's DRS that helps remove the howlers, but umpires, I think, are really stakeholders in the game that have to be saluted. And this show is just a little tribute to the umpires. A lot of people talk about how umpires have gotten so many decisions wrong, and I'm not going to go into that. What I'm going to talk about are some of the decisions that umpires got right in very, very difficult and challenging situations. And some of the umpires, like Billy Bowden, have given us a lot of entertaining moments. So we'll start with the Billy Bowden and enjoy some of his antics in this very, very small video, about 4 minutes long, that I hope you're able to see as well as hear on Facebook Live. Here it comes. Billy Bowden, ladies and gentlemen, from New Zealand. A good umpire, more importantly, a very, very entertaining umpire on the field of play.
There aren't many referees or umpires who deserve a farewell tribute, but Billy does.
I just love the game, and I express myself the way I want to express myself, and I'm out there to umpire. Everyone's got their own personalities, and I just enjoy it. And when I see the big sixes, I just go crazy, just like everyone else. The ball's just the same. I mean, especially up and on the ground, the better the shot, the better signal that I love giving.
Look at Billy. Oh, that's got the crowd going. He's set the stadium on fire. He's got some energy. He's got to know that the Blue Blacks have won the Rugby World Cup. Rainer in the back. I hope both of them saw the joke.
Even cricketers on the field of play enjoyed Billy Bowden's antics.
There's the appeal. Turner looking around, still no Billy, Billy goes for one, then Turner on ambles through for Simpson. He comes back into position, does Billy, and up goes the finger. The crooked finger of doom.
This initial joke today, he could not believe it. See, well, that's it. It looked close. Been turned down. Pretty well and went whistling in his direction, and he wasn't happy, was he?
Well, Steve Bucknell went over there signaling dead ball. I'll tell you who isn't going to be happy, and that's the batsman. He'd be really annoyed. Probably could have gone for four.
A Trevor Chappell impersonation to bring the house down here at this tour opener. The stage is made for Billy Bowden. It has been a total night. Nearly as famous as many years ago with a smile.
One of the last personalities to raise the crooked finger has been dropped from the international panel. Yes, I'm talking about New Zealand's Billy Bowden.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Billy Bowden, the one and only Billy Bowden for you all from New Zealand. Moving on now, let's take a look at one of the good decisions of Steve Bucknor from West Indies. I recall there was a time, ladies and gentlemen, when I really liked Steve Bucknor as an umpire, but over time, I do believe that his capabilities on the field of cricket did decline to where he probably should have retired. In fact, I even recall some of the other umpires saying that they had advised Steve Bucknor to retire before it got to the point where his umpiring had deteriorated and people mistook that for whatever, right? Bias or whatever. And we've had those issues. We all recall some of the series between India and Australia in Australia. But this one is an example of a decision that was got spot on by umpire Steve Bucknor. Enjoy.
After the ball's hit the stumps.
In the air, Egan. Umpire Bucknor says no. There was a loud sound then, a loud woody sound. Sangakkara. Again, short delivery after two balls pitched up. And you'd have to give it to umpire Bucknor. That's a top decision. The experienced Bucknor, standing in his 60th test match, has got it dead right.
Fantastic decision. All done at speed. We've got the benefit of a slow-mo and it looks pretty out. Great decision.
Let's see what he does, whether he's able to lay.
Indeed, a very, very good decision by umpire Steve Buckner, as we all saw with the slow motion that actually hit the arm guard and not the glove or the handle of the bat, and hence that was not out as correctly adjudged by umpire Steve Buckner. Here's another very, very good decision by another umpire that I love a lot. He's now retired from international officiating, but one of the best of his times. And I think that was also true of him, that his powers on the field started to wane. But yep, he's now happily retired, I believe, from international cricket. And that's Aleem Dar getting it right. Again, on a tough one, but he will be proved right at the end of this video. Enjoy.
.79 his average at the moment. His heart will be pumping. Hilfenhaus pumping in. Oh, that's out! The appeal goes up. The umpire's finger doesn't. What a start. Well, you reckon it can only be height. That's about the only thing you can reckon. And I think that's what Ricky Ponting's probably asking Ben Hilfenhaus. He's saying, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it. The line looks really good. It's a bad lead from Andrew Strauss, but I just wonder if it didn't bounce too much.
I wonder what Strauss's mind's going through. How sheepish is he? We've got a lot to look at here. Hilfenhaus, not known for his no balls. Again, he's okay. Beautiful in-swinger it was. Strauss not really sure whether he wanted to play at it or not. Decides not to. It pitches just outside off, hits in line and bounces just a little too much. A gutsy review for the Aussies. Doesn't come off. What a terrific decision. What a decision that is. That is a great decision. Just over the top. It was a perfect delivery. Well, almost perfect.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, a very tough decision, but ultimately DRS showed that umpire Aleem Dar got that one spot on. Again, a very good decision under pressure by umpire Aleem Dar. Now on to the last one that I have for today. Another piece of umpiring brilliance by umpire Amish Sahiba in a match between India and Pakistan. We all know those are real pressure cooker situations. And for umpire Sahiba to get it right, yep, that required a lot of courage. And he will be proved right, as we will see again in this video.
And again, this time another big appeal. The height factor might come into play. A long appeal and everyone around is convinced. It's going to be extremely interesting, and he signaled leg buys as well.
To Sachin Tendulkar. Yeah?
It's going to be a very interesting
replay. It can't get any more challenging than that. Yeah?
Because I thought it might have been the case of inside edge onto the pad. No, it doesn't look like that Sachin Tendulkar hit that one, but he was jumping in the crease. The height might have saved him. Excellent decision, you have to say that. Kept his nerves, the umpire, birthday boy, and made the right decision once again.
As mentioned there by the commentators, one of whom was the legendary Amir Sohail. It was a great decision by umpire Sahiba. So fantastic decisions by these great umpires. Now, give me a second. Those are all the videos that I had lined up to play for you all while I move the camera back to myself. I've got another 10 minutes where I'll try and talk to you all a little more about GCL USA. Give me a minute while I set the camera back on me. In the meanwhile, enjoy this song.
तू ही है मुझको बता दे सुन रहा है ना तू तेरे को बता दे सुन रहा है ना तू खता की होती है
Back on Facebook in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. I give you a wave again. I hope you all are able to see me and hear me clearly. Let me adjust camera a little bit. There you go. I give you a wave again. I give you a thumbs up and a victory sign. Thank you so much for those of you who are tuned into me. Today was a show, a little bit of a tribute show to the umpires on the field of cricket. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I sincerely hope we never see the day when human umpires are replaced by artificial intelligence bots. I hope that never ever happens. These umpires are really great. They are out there making hundreds of decisions. They'll get a few wrong. We all are human. We all make mistakes. There's no point magnifying those. And today, in the field of cricket, there is so much scrutiny. In the midst of all of that, somebody to even want to be an umpire is something that we need to appreciate them for, because it's very easy to walk away and say, I'm going to do something else, than be on a field doing a job that often seems to be thankless, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, kudos to the umpires, all of the umpires. I named a few. I ran videos of even fewer because that's all that we had time for. I had initially planned that it would be a longer interview with Arif Bhai, but realized that he is super duper busy working extremely hard for all of us to get the GCL USA show on the road. Once again, I go back to GCL USA. It's coming up. It'll be up in the blink of an eye, ladies and gentlemen. We are only a little more than a month and a half out from the first ball being bowled, October 24th. Mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. That's when we get started with the games. And as I said, the last few hours, there have been a few developments that we all need to be proud of. Ravichandran Ashwin, I did mention about his retirement from IPL and his availability to play different leagues. It'd be great if we have 100% certainty that Ravi Ashwin would be a part of GCL USA. That would be awesome. Similarly, so many other names that were mentioned. Moeen Ali, an outstanding all-rounder. I've always enjoyed Moeen Ali's batting and bowling. A thinking cricketer, a very, very intelligent cricketer, somebody who's been par excellence in international cricket as well as in league cricket. Such an honor that Moeen Ali would be a part of GCL USA. Similar, such fantastic talent coming up. And as Arif Bhai said, in the next few days, we will also have finalized a lot of things about the broadcast setup. We're going to be in 80 countries and broadcast arrangements are being worked as we speak. I hope to get Arif Bhai on air the next time I'm here live, which is going to be, hopefully, if everything goes well, on the 21st of September. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be out of town about 10 days or so, and then the next live show that I would be doing would be on Sunday, the 21st of 21st of September, my usual slot of 11 a.m. on Sundays, Houston time. So again, before we judge somebody, before we say somebody's got it all wrong, does it all wrong, let's step back and take a look. They are human. They've done a few things wrong, but majority of the things, they got it right. Let's appreciate them for that. Umpiring, ladies and gentlemen. And on that note, I will take leave from you all. Umpires are like judges. Yeah? Judges on the field of cricket. And here's a Punjabi song. I believe it is Punjabi song, which appreciates and expresses love for a judge. I think it's from the movie that was just released earlier last month, Chal Mera Put 4. And this song says, have love for the judge. And with that, I will be signing off, ladies and gentlemen, for 2 weeks. As I said, I will be out of town. And if all goes well, I'll be back in the studio entertaining you all on Sunday, the 21st of September at 11 a.m. Houston. Till then, keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Keep me in your blessings. They are extremely important for me. Be happy, be smiling. Look forward to GCL USA and spread the word among your family and friends. Together, we are on the throes of making history with this unique cricketing league here in good old Houston, good old United States of America. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Take care. Bye for now. And as I leave, here's a song that I promised, requesting us to love the judges in our life. Bye for now.
ਨੀ ਜੱਜ ਬਣੀ ਬੈਠੀ ਐ ਤੂੰ ਹੀਰੀਏ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਦਿੰਨੀ ਐ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਦੀ ਥਾਣੇਦਾਰ ਲਿਖੇ ਨਾ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਸੋਣੀਏ ਤੇਰੇ ਦੋਵੇਂ ਨੈਣਾ ਨਾਲ ਦਿਲ ਠੱਗੇ ਦੀ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਇਲਾਜ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਸੱਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੀਨੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਦੀ ਮੈਂ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਕੌਣ ਮੇਰੀ ਸੁਣੋ ਗੋਰੀਏ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਫੈਨ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਪਰਸੋਂ ਤੂੰ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਨਿਕਲੀ ਕਾਲੀ ਕੁੜਤੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਦੀ ਫੈਨ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਇਸੇ ਉਹੀ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਰਿਪੀਟ ਸੋਣੀਏ ਚੌਥੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਮਾਰ ਲਈ ਸੀ ਹੁਣ ਚੱਗੇ ਦੀ ਨੀ ਜੱਜ ਬਣੀ ਬੈਠੀ ਐ ਤੂੰ ਹੀਰੀਏ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਦਿੰਨੀ ਐ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਦੀ ਸਿਵਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਬੂਲ ਕਰਿਓ ਜੀ ਅਰਜ਼ੀ ਲਿਖੀਏ ਮਸਾਂ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਨ ਮੇਰਾ ਚੰਨ ਬਣ ਜਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਆਇਆ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਛੋੜ ਕੇ ਨੀ ਚੁੰਨੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਸੁਣੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਆ ਸੋਹਣੀਏ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਬਰੋਂ ਲਿਆ ਤਾਰੇ ਤੋੜ ਕੇ ਸਾਂਭਲੋ ਜੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਮਝੋ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਜੋ ਗਰੀਬ ਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਮੋੜ ਕੇ ਜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੱਚ ਦੇ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਕੀਮਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਲੱਗੇ ਦੀ ਨੀ ਜੱਜ ਬਣੀ ਬੈਠੀ ਐ ਤੂੰ ਹੀਰੀਏ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਦਿੰਨੀ ਐ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਦੀ ਨੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਆਸ਼ਿਕ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ ਹੋ ਜੂ ਗੋਰੀਏ ਜੀ ਉੱਤੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣਦਾ